This is your daily market recap for Wednesday, July 26, 2022. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Tuesday, July 26, 2022. Let's get into it. Hopefully you're having a good day. As we said, Monday, Tuesday before OPEX, choppy, trade extremes, be cognizant of things, just don't get overly excited about one direction, up or down. It's kind of funny how it works out. We close right back at the breakout from 390 that we talked about in the last week or so. But again, if you are newer to the channel, please check out the Discord room. Link is in the description below. This channel is meant for traders who have experience, who are looking to get those edges, the market edges. We will be updating and adding a ton of documents to some of the research and things that I've done over the course of years. Where is it? Some of the links in here for how to trade, commandments of trading, just certain like trade sheets, all sorts of fun little resources that we will be handing out for free. Because again, this is not about trying to gain popularity. It's about teaching traders how to trade well, and it takes care of itself. This is not there's nothing to sell here. Again, I trade exactly what I'm saying I'm doing and what the folks talk about. Like, that's our goal, is to help each other out, become better traders, because ultimately that is the goal here. If you are trying to become a social media icon pretending to trade, that's just not how it works. If you really want to make money, you've got to become a great trader. Like, that's your goal. We run it like a business, not a bunch of gamblers trying to get rich quick and convince a bunch of people to buy ABC worth of material and then disappear, because that's what's going to happen in a bear market. You see it every time. A lot of smart traders who will just disappear because they don't know how to trade all the markets. We do. I do, at least. Been trading for 20 years, seen many bear markets, many bull markets. Bitcoin bounced, pulled back, talked about it the last couple of days. We said, hey, we need to get away from this range in green. If you notice to the left, there's a reason why it's there. Because then you can get up into the 30,000 range. At this point, it's tough to know for sure. I would argue that no matter what happens, you do not turn a winner into a loser, meaning if you have to stop out and get back in later, that's fine. We have no clue where Bitcoin is going. At least I don't. People who try to sell you on certainty, that's, again, it's the same people who sell people on certainty with gold, like, or uranium, or the markets. Like, it's a trader's market, bear market, things go up and they go down. Get to a bull market, it'll get easier. Oil, talked about it probably failing at the trend line, backing off. We need to see nat gas peak. Well, I think we may have seen nat gas peak. We'll talk about it here later in the video. At this point, again, there is a recession coming. Well, there already is one, technically, if you count 2 negative quarters of GDP, which will be announced on Thursday. Demand destruction. Now, I'm not saying oil is going to zero. Those days are way gone. We will never see negative futures on oil unless we literally don't use any oil anymore. But at this point, oil is in everything from transporting to what? Every product. Literally, it's used heavily in everything. And at this point, that's briefing.com. It's gonna pull back. I've said multiple times, we probably gonna pull back into what? 60s, maybe 50s, some crazy extreme, but I'm guessing 60s, 70s range, somewhere in this yellow area. You can see it. That's my guess. I can't believe the volume at price isn't showing, but that's where the congestion is. Let's get into the market, because today, again, I think a lot of people anticipated big moves. Oh, the market's going to tank. This is going to happen, yada, yada, yada. And you got a whole lot of what? Again, I think the novice retail investor is getting way too aggressively short, and that's what they usually do right before they can get blown out. Anyway, at this point, TLT. Talked about this morning, watch it testing the highs, backed off, not surprised. It's going to be choppy. It's waiting for the feds. If you don't think the 75 basis point rate hike is priced into the bond market, where the hell have you been? I mean, literally, TLT was in the 150s. You do the math. If you remember, the 10-year was what? Trading at, under 1%. Now it got up to, what, 3 and something a half at the high, whatever. You do the math there. That's 10 rate hikes. Well, the feds are going to probably get 75 and a quarter. They're not going to get 10. before they change course. We'll see. I mean, if they do, it might get uglier. But at this point, it seems logical. We're getting into the 120s. The trade is we bought it down here. We told people expect choppiness. Look for your exits as it rises. Really that simple. Dollar. I think I usually start on the dollar. My bad. Said what? Probably going to come back to the 20-day. It popped today. At this point, I've said this over and over and over. I mean, I see people talking about euro going to 80 cents on the dollar. I would not be surprised. We said once you get into the upper channel range bounds, it's probably going to back off. Muscle memory. Tell us all the time. Support equals resistance. Market has muscle memory. Please do not ignore this. And then it backed off. Cool. Holding the 20-day. At this point, I still think the downside is in the 28s. I think ultimately the dollar, as I said over and over and over and over again, the dollar's final move is a blow up to the upside, then crash. It's not a just crash out of nowhere and flop. Keep that in mind. Because if the euro falls apart first, or Chinese currency falls apart first, or whatever current Japanese yen falls apart first, I think the dollar will get a bid. It seems very likely. The VIX. Oh my God. So many people are like, oh, if it gets over 25, this market is absolutely going to crash. Well, it got over 25 and the market didn't crash, y'all. It's just chopped. Again, I still think at some point you come down to the range lows. Seems obvious. Again, the news is really painting the picture that the world is going to end. Keep in mind, based on Target, Walmart data, they said this all weeks ago. They were guiding down. Now, this is the thing about bear markets and bear market rallies, is they do what? They go against what everything seems likely. Again, the world seems like it's going to end, and all of a sudden the market rallies. Why? Again, rebalancing, shaking out weak hands. Maybe the worst is behind us near term, and then what? The worst comes out later. It's just, again, it's keep in mind that there's only so far the market can go down. Shorting is not a long-term investment. Please, it's not. Just don't wrap your head into that idiot sequencing. Because, again, it's like the people who shorted, and I mean, we shorted a ton in the 2000s, and then when the bear market was over, it's not like we're going to stay short. Like, that's just how you get wiped out, literally. SPY talked about hitting the channel high to a T. Backed off Doji sandwich. You continued lower today. Not surprised. We're at the 50-day. I still think at worst you are going to hold 389. Oh, Dan, you're crazy. Well, let's go into it because I kind of made a joke today that was it Korean, however you want to pronounce it. Where's the pin post? Let's where is it? I don't know how to find it. But we talked about what? Everyone's calling for a head and shoulders top, right? Let me get up there and find this post because it's pretty funny. Like, everybody's calling for a head and shoulders top. Like, literally, everybody. This is how I think it ends up. Head and shoulders top. Oh, the world's going to end. And then what? Rallies higher. Everyone gets caught squeezed. It goes slightly higher, 405, 410 on the SPY. Then it fails. That's how I look at it. That's what I think is ultimately going to happen. Does it have to? No. It just seems logical that would. Because, again, the market usually ends with gap ups. That's what I was warning in videos, like novice gaps. It's not going to end with a gap down. I don't see any gaps here that signify the highs, do you? I don't see it here. Do you want to see the past for the high? That's what I'm talking about, like a novice gap. A little bit of a novice gap, but same thing at the lows. We talk about novice gaps to end the move, right? Here's your novice gap right here. Boom. Here's your novice gap. Boom. Professional gap. Do you see the difference here? It's just not there yet. It doesn't feel right. The volume isn't there. You got to get past what? Feds. You got to get past the end of the month. Keep in mind, tech seasonally, August, absolute crap. Bear market, you betcha. Again, I just don't know. Again, you got to be careful. You got to be careful because it could end up being a multi-step rally, which you haven't seen one of these yet in the bear market. It's been, this and then pull back. Maybe it's a lower high. We don't know. You've had the straight shoots higher. You have like these little baby gaps and goes. But at this point, we talked about like this was exhausting. All these gaps, that was pure panic, pure just giving the hell up. I still think at some point you're going to get up here when the SPY. I don't know what's going to lead it. Or the Qs. I don't know. I don't know. Again, you don't know until what? Until the news comes out and it's probably already priced in. That's what we talk about. Again, if you're waiting for the why for the market to rise, you probably will not know it until it gets to the highs, and that's when it's buy the rumor, sell the news. That's how that works. Pretty wild, but people just don't get it. IWM, it's led. We talked about it bottoming first. I mean, do you see these days? Like the market, like people are screaming, bloody murder, that's going to fail. And then look at the IDM, it's just doging. It's just tight action, making higher lows. Do you see this? Do you see it? Do you see it? I don't see carnage. I see higher lows, folks, and the IWM tends to lead. Red alert bears. Now, where do you think it's going to go? We talked about it. 187 on a cop. That's what they call that. That's the code for killing police, right? Or murder, whatever. I don't know. I'm not that deep into that, but that's what 187 is. The, can it break the channel again? When it gets compresses against it, you don't get you're not surprised. Like we talked about that with like the TLT bottom. Once you ride the lightning along the bottom, it makes sense that it'll break below it, right? Here's your nice smooth channel, goes below it, comes back in, channel below. That can happen. Anyway, so back to IWM. What? Again, if you are shorting the market because you're reading the news, as I call the news, it's the noose, because it's literally, the market can't take your money, but it will gladly hand you a noose, you'll put it around your neck, and you'll hang yourself doing what they tell you to do. That's the problem with the news. That's the problem with people trading. They just don't get it. They just don't get it. Gold, we've said something's going on here. Now, again, I don't like the volume on the GLD, but you did have decent amount of futures contracts at 1680, which puts you around this 157. Now, going into the Fed, if you were down, you should expect a rally. Last in December had the same kind of thing. It was down, retested, and went popped. Now, at this point, what was the March one? I can't remember. March, I think it was this and pop. Whatever, it doesn't matter. This is beat down. We're at major reference points. You know your stops. It's real simple. Again, bullish, bearish gold, please do not marry anything. We talked about the 382, this blue box, cup and handle. You're in the handle. We don't know how long the handle is going to last. Just don't marry anything. If you have to stop out, that's part of the game. We had this conversation today about how traders, they do really well and then they have one loss and give it all back. Well, why do you do that? You believe in certainty. Again, the brain wants that. The brain loves certainty. It loves to be right. Everybody loves right. Correcting people love to correct others. This is all basic psychology, okay? Well, guess what? To be a great trader, you have to be able to admit when you're wrong. Now, I don't own the GLD. I own some of the miners, and we'll talk about it here in a second. But if this fails on me, I am gone. I'm not sitting here going, well, every social media person said gold's going higher during a bear market. They've been wrong. Idiots. And again, I mean, not idiots, but they're novices. Most people are novices on the internet. Somehow you found me, you're lucky. In sense that I'm giving away my information for free because I just trade it. But I'm not a novice. I've been caught in every trap 1,000 times. So that the definition is not applied to me, because you'll see I don't recommend dumb stuff. I don't recommend gambling. I recommend treating this like a business. Silver, oh my gosh, making a higher low. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You zoom out and you go, fuck, man, this thing has been beaten. Did I just curse? Oops. Yeah, I mean, it should hold. Like, I put this out here months ago. I said, this is probably a hold down here. Doesn't mean it can't retest later, because this is what can happen sometimes. Chop and then pop. But maybe this is, that would be a pretty nice move. I don't know if you're going to get a 15, 20% move in silver, but I don't care. I just want a little bit. I don't need to be greedy. GDX, we talked about Newmont. Talked about it. GDX holding the 24. What was it? 24. Yeah, mid 24s. You zoom out again. This is the lower end of my bound. You can see it. All these wicks. There's muscle memory here. It should bounce. Now, how high? Again, the best time to buy gold miners is what? At the end, like the capitulation of the first capitulation in a bear market. Remember, the market peaked in what? March of 2009. Where is March? Yep, here it is. Again, we're looking for the Feds to do what? To pivot. They are not pivoting. They're still raising rates at this point. The perception is that they're not pivoting, but doesn't mean it can't bounce. Look at in July 2007, you had a nice little bounce. June, July, you had GDX went from 42 up to 52. At this point, I'm not expecting that much. I'm thinking maybe 30. Again, you do the math, 20%. It's not a bad risk reward if it's right. Speaking of, well, here, let me just do GXJ. This is what I own, actually, the juniors, because guess what? I said this yesterday. I'm like, whoa, the juniors are holding up extremely well. You have your doji bottom. Chart's basically identical. Similar kind of thing. Oversold. Been a bloody bloody murder. It's been absolutely slaughtered, and now it's holding up. Remember, the miners lead the metals bottom after the miners have bottomed. What do you got here? You got volume, you got a doji. All right, well, again, tomorrow, anything can happen. Just be aware. You know your stops. We bought some Januggle. Where is Jane? Do I even have No, it doesn't matter. The chart of it doesn't matter. Just watch this. If GDXJ doesn't act right, that means you need to get the hell out on Dodge. All right, so here's a, where is Newmont? I need to show you guys a VPA example because this is how you know sometimes something is bottoming. Novice gap, huge volume. Their earnings, I think their revenue is down 1% year over year. Yada, yada, yada. They're blaming higher cost. We all know that. Don't act like, again, I love when people are like, did you listen to the conference call? Diesel costs are up and fuel costs are up and blah, 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 blah. No shit, Sherlock. Everyone's been talking like that. Like, we knew that up here. That's why the miners got freaking burned. Now it's cut in half. And the fuel costs are, what? Stabilizing? Maybe coming down a little bit? Whoa! Stop driving the car looking backwards. You're going to get into a crash. So here's VPA. High volume, yes. Zoom out on the monthly. Oh, give me the monthly. There you go. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. We talked about this blue box. I mean, does it could get back down to the 43s. You don't know. Maybe tomorrow it does it. But now what? You should absolutely be looking for a bottom because who has the ability to stop the market? Look at today's action. Should have followed through, big volume. Then you go look in the intraday stuff. This is where it gets really fascinating. Look at the close yesterday. All of this green buying. Yesterday's volume was equivalent to more than a week. More than a week. And then today's volume was higher than any other day since, basically April. Something is going on here. I'm not saying Newmont's going to $50 and $60 tomorrow. I'm telling you, I think it's put in a bottom. And if Newmont bottoms, the rest of the market should bottom in this stuff. How long does this last? We don't know. We just don't know. Hey, we don't know. We just don't know. There's a trade here, all right? So whoever bought Newmont, cool. Don't be surprised if it retests. It's really, really, really simple. You have your levels now, and if it goes lower, you're gone. But you also know if you look out on the monthly, right? What? Here's the trend line right here, 43. I mean, you're not that far off. That's why if you're buying here in the 45, 44, 43 range, your risk versus reward is what? I mean, no doubt it can get back up. I mean, think about when it popped here, went from 63 up to 70, 10%. I think 10% take you up into the mid 40, or back to 50. Now again, 10%, whatever. In this market, it might be the best risk reward you're going to get. I don't know this. We do know there's a trade here, okay? Moving right along. Hope this helps. AG said this thing has been absolutely slaughtered. I think long term you get it probably in the 5 or 6 range, but it looks like it's got a bottom. It does this choppy, sloppy mess before it reverses. Here's your choppy, sloppy mess, right? Holding the 6s. AEM. Drew Special here said keep an eye on it. Was like, yeah, you're right. Look at the volume yesterday. Had a big volume. Then today, big volume, and then you zoom in. Zoom in. You go, whoa, closing, someone bought that. On the dip, whoa, and then the close, hey, yeah, whatever. Again, no volume, and then all of a sudden you're getting large volume nodes down here. It's at the bottom, which means it's probably at the bottom, meaning you didn't get volume until the lows. Well, usually you're going to bounce then. Like that's, again, think about what the market maker is. It is a volume-seeking mechanism to trade. They buy it wholesale to sell it retail to you and I later, hopefully, and mark it up. Well, they need inventory. You do get no bottom. You get no bottom without inventory. You break, you buy, kind of thing, you know? Like, that's just how it is. Now you've got volume, Newmont, AEM. Is it time? Is it time? I don't know. This company talked about like it lower. It's holding... Not really. Whatever. 3s. Again, I don't think it's long term. Any of these penny names, they're not the right time to buy them. It's penny stocks, penny gold miners, total crap. Just trust me, okay? PAAS. Someone bought some yesterday around 18. Nice close up here. Again, here's your volume. Long wick. Check out the monthly. Where are you? You're at the 100 month. And again, keep an eye. Just, these things have gotten 30 down to whatever, 18, 17s. It's a big, big, big move. Is silver going much lower? We don't know. Again, the fundamentals, we can argue about fundamentals. I just don't. I just want to do what the market's doing. You can argue about, well, you should have been buying, Dan. You should be buying, long term. It's the long term. You got to buy gold. I'm an investor / trader / swing trader. If I am long this whole move, slap me silly, because that would have been wrong. Now I'm buying down here with tight stops. Slap you for being wrong, because you could have waited. Unreal. I like to make jokes. It's not meant to be personal, but there's a reason why 90% of traders lose. They do all the wrong things. It's more about ego and being right than just doing what the market's doing. Well, I got to buy uranium, and I got to buy gold, and I got to hold it. All right, well, if it goes lower, then sell it. No, but long term, 5-8 years out. And it's like, whoa. We don't know which companies are going to survive that 5 to 8 year process. You just don't know. These penny stocks could be gone. Sold for pennies on the dollar, literally. X talked about probably going to get up into the 20s, tightening up. I mean, it's holding up pretty well. I mean, you can't argue that. Nucor hit resistance. We talked about it. Said you better know your resistance points when you're trading. Well, it's clearly up in the mid 120s, not mid, upper 120s. Apologize. Backs off. High and tight is good. I mean, as long as you hold above this gap, I think you're safe. That's the goal here. Hold above the gap. CCJ, uranium folks. Oh, you got to buy and hold this forever. You're crazy. It's a market meant to be traded. I'll show you why you don't hold CCJ, because this is if you get stuck in this crap. I do think it's in a bull market, but guess what? Commodities aren't going to bottom. I mean, you're coming out of the tech bubble, so it could get choppy. I mean, that's what uranium does. Now everyone's going, oh, Russia is this and China that and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we get it. The fundamentals are there, but it doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow it's going, because if you get into a recession, this could get sloppy and choppy, right? That's all you got to know. At this point, what? I think you're still going to get back down at the 16 range at some point, but just trade it. Just don't, please, absolutely don't hold and buy forever without a freaking plan, because if it goes lower, I don't want to see you crying. I don't want to see you crying and eating cereal with Lucky Charms full of tears. It's just not the best breakfast of champions. Breakfast of champions is wine and steak. Good trading. VALE talked about it. Probably little double bottom, gonna bounce. Just again, all these names are due to bounce. Arrow. It's probably like Arrow. 20-day, gotta hold. It's again, I like copper long term, but I don't necessarily like the miners, the names involved in it, because they're gonna get washed out with the market. If you don't know why, here's the rant for the 7,338th time. In a market that is dropping, getting wiped out, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's nothing safe. Things might not drop as much, but things aren't safe because, again, when liquidation comes, they have to sell. Margin calls, everyone has to sell. When institutions get redemptions, they have to sell. It doesn't matter if they'll hold every great stock and they still have to sell because they're getting redeemed. People have to cash out. People are running for the hills. So nothing is safe. Now things will get absolutely bloody murdered. Some things will hold up. Mosaic. Here's that name that's holding up well. Got up at the old 0.618 here. Backed off. I mean, kicked me out right before it went higher. It looks okay. CF to me is by far the better looking chart. Clearly, look at this bottom, big down, stopping power. It kind of looks like AEM actually, doesn't it? Like you have this big down, volume next day. Here, let me show you AEM. Inside candle, right? Big volume, inside candle, due to pop. Back to CF, my bad. Just keep that in mind. AEM now is going to be a name you should be watching and trading if you want to play up miners later. Look at this. Nice chop bottom. Boom. Popped. It looks way better than Mosaic. What's up, Cat? At the 50-day. Now, again, all these names, there's tons of things going on in the world. I still think at some point, these names will pull back. I think you're going to get somewhere in the 70s. Doesn't seem like a lot of downside, but it is what it is. Let's get into tech. Tick. Yeah, everybody's bearish. Got it. The data is going to be bad. Again, if you are driving your car looking in the rearview mirror, I'm warning you, you might be crashing. Trees are closer than they actually appear because you can't see them. You're driving off the road. Tech, I think it may have peaked, but we talked about what? Possibly going higher because, again, everyone's bearish. keep in mind, I say this every time, in a market, for it to top, everyone has to be bullish. At the lows, everybody was bearish, hence it popped. Everybody hates AMD. We talked about covering your short here is the low end of the range. Popping, I think it can pop a little higher either way. What did we talk about last week? We talked about, all of my tech gains, gone. And now I play in a little tech right now for a pop. If it works, great. If it doesn't, the big money's been taken. But what do we notice about this kind of stuff is what? You can get choppy and then a little pop. That's kind of what I'm thinking. You get like this chop, then a pop. Here you go, again, drop, and then a little higher high. Are you seeing that? Do you see that repeating tendency? Pop, pull back, higher. Pop, pull back, higher. That's the wipeout pattern. That's the absolute wipeout pattern. And when I say wipeout pattern, what does that mean? Trap the bulls, trap the bears. Get the bears getting real short right here, going, oh, we got it. It's like they think they pulled the trigger and they are going to walk up to the prey. They thought they killed the bull, and then the bull is like, you didn't hit me, and then it runs them over and freaking gouges them out. Like then they die. Then the bull dies after eating you because you are infectious. No, but my point being is that's what the market loves to do. It loves to trick people. It's not meant to pay you. Get out of here with that crap. Someone was saying, oh, the market's easy. This and this, do it. No, market's not easy. It's meant to take your money. It's a casino. You don't walk into the casino and they go, here, Mr. Max, would you like $1,000? Here, Mr. Max, would you like $500? No. They're trying to take my money. Play our game, sir. Sit down and lose your wallet. Would you like to borrow more money? Would you like to run a line of credit to gamble more? Yes, please. Of course, duh. Because they expect me to lose. So the same thing in trading. Like, do you not realize that? SMH, we talked about. Please sell it the more it rose. Now it backed off. Watch the 220 area. Real simple. IBM got kicked out of this one. Seems to be holding up well. I've said this 1,000 times. In a market that's crap, this has been actually up. Best performer I can see versus UTHR. At this point, back chopping, I don't know. I feel like the check is coming. Might not be. Again, that's a pretty sizable wipeout. Probably needs to reverse. When's the last time we had volume that big? I don't know. It didn't went lower, but that was a different time. Let's see about in the summer. When's the last time I had a summer meltdown on earnings? Wow, this is just boring me to death. I give up. I don't know. Again, I think it can rally, but also, too, if the bear market continues, you have to set your stops. You do not hold this blindly. You don't know. Okay? Okay. Meta. Got stopped out of this one twice today. This was really fun. Playing the dip. And ended up getting to the channel low, which should have known, Dan. Should have known. But again, the market was holding up pretty well. Should have known. I know. Whatever. If you bought it down here, congratulations to you. I think after hours with all of tech. Let's check it on the 10-minute. Yeah, nice. If you bought it at 158, you are dancing. You're at 162. You have a nice buffer between tomorrow and today to maybe let this ride up. Keep in mind their earnings is after the close tomorrow. I have no clue what's going to happen. None. But there is a tendency. If Snap craps the bed and it pulls Google and Meta down, then what usually follows is a rally back. Now, how strong? Again, tech sucks in August. It'll probably be a pop and then flop. Apple, the fruit. What do we talk about? It's probably going to get what? It's been leading the market higher, and it went slightly over our little... again, this prices, again, if you want exact prices, good luck. No, it doesn't work like that. Pulling back, look at the volume. This is not wipeout city. This isn't capitulation starting lower. This is dying volume choppiness. You want to see at least, see how this top pullback and then a dead low gone. Or a chop with a little higher volume. At this point, you don't really know. It's waiting for earnings Thursday after the close. We don't know. Again, I still anticipate somehow Apple's going to pull one out of their butt because they probably bought back a ton of stock. They're going to look like they're beat. They look like they're going to have a huge beat on EPS. They're going to announce more buyback. Yada, yada, yada. We know the routine. And then what? I'll probably dump after that. Roadblocks. Man, I feel like dodged a bullet here. Like it up to 50s at some point. But what did we say? I said this in the Discord room. I said it in the video many times. I didn't like how we couldn't get over 42. And when 42 acts like a wall, well, don't be surprised to pull back. Now you got the 20-day if you're trading it. I mean, there's 10% right there. Not a bad risk reward if you want to trade it, because it could get up to 50s. Tesla, talked about this one today. This is one that hit right back at support. Let me draw this because I have it on my other computer. I mean, it's basically, well, I mean, you can see it. Let me just zoom it in for you. This little area right here, you can see it. Here you go. Here you go. Just this whole little box in the 770s. You went a little below it and you pop back. Not surprised. Not surprised. Again, remember we talked about retail idiots. Sorry, retail idiots, because there's probably someone listening that's going, I bought Tesla. Well, yeah, you bought it and it's pulled back. We talked about it's a reoccurring pattern because it chases up into earnings and then they puke it out to retail buyers who then puke it at some point to buy it back. Again, you're always on the wrong side of the trade if you're a retail trader because that's their goal, to wipe you out. We talked about pulling back. Now it probably pops. I still think I would not short this stock. I see higher and higher low. When I see that, I don't want to be bearish. Not just yet. Let's see what happens. Now, maybe it does dump and I'm wrong, but I don't want to short it. EXPI, great company, crappy stock. Watched in the 11th. It's so crazy because I get people talking about fundamentals. And look at this uranium stock. And look at that. And look at it. Fundamentals. It's funny how they work. When the market's great, fundamentals matter. When it's not, they don't. That's all I have to say on that. It's the same thing every day. UTHR. What did we say? I mean, again, we nailed this trade. I hate repeating myself. At this point, if you're not taking profits, you are an absolute... Again, you're the type of trader that's going to ultimately fail because you don't know how to take gains. Like we talked about, once you get up to the channel highs, after a solid run from 164, guess what? And then you get up to 240s in this market, and the way it's acting, tired, slow, tired, stalling. Now, again, if it gets bought out, someone's going to be like, you're an idiot. And it's like, well, you can't really bet on that, okay? Like, that's what it is, right? That's all. But at this point, even if you should be taking your profits because it will dip because it's a bear market. It's not immune. At some point, it will pull back. And if you just hold and watch it slip from 240 to 230s to 220s to 210s to 200, 190, and then you go, well, damn it, what did I do wrong? Well, you didn't sell at highs. I like to sell when it's easy. Remember, like we talked about selling tech last week. It was easy to sell tech. This is easy to sell into. Now it's hard, right? You don't want to be in a hard position. Oil, nice work, popping and flopping. Again, I have a point where the market likes oil going down. So it's like, do you want to short oil? Do you want to be long the market? You kind of go either or. Ultimately, both will go down. Near term, we said, watch the 20-day. Clearly, that's the issue. I still think you get back up. Let me just draw it for people so they can see it very clearly. And keep in mind, high volume, highs and lows, that's decent volume, act like tractor beams, right? Like this whole little area here is a tractor beam, anywhere in the 78, 79. If it gets there, great. If it doesn't, like today, and you wanted to short that, I mean, the volume isn't great, but that is considered an engulfing bar, outside reversal. You know, made a higher high and then closed below. That's bearish. This, folks, where are you, UNG? People were talking about shorting this, and I said, you gotta wait. You gotta wait. You got into the box. Look at this candle. Someone asked, is this a topping signal? I don't know what else would you call this at this point, actually. Novice gap. Again, there's a lot of gaps in natural gas. That's probably not fair. But you open at the high and you close at the lows on above average volume. Do you see that? See it? See it? See it? Okay, that's right. This is not a bullish formation. Now, does it have to resolve immediately lower? No. That's the big problem here. What I worry about is you're into this like chop zone. And again, now there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I don't know. But I do see something I see a retest of the highs. Now again, I mean, keep in mind UNG is a really crappy ETF. Look at this thing. It's like you can't even open this thing, chart up enough to find it. It's like, where are you, big guy? You got multiple months of highs here. I guess it's probably prudent to go to actually the weekly versus the monthly. Zadomas. Yeah. This is going to be the upper range bound. You can see it. Now, again, longer term, I think natural gas, like oil, if you underinvest in it, it's going to go higher. But near term, have we hit the peak temperatures? I don't know. I don't want to play this game of being a weatherman. I'm not a meteorologist. I do know that that's bearish. That's my weather prediction. But it doesn't mean it couldn't chop out if the market holds up. Now, again, maybe the market wants oil and gas to drop. Like that's the hardest thing you have to wrap your brain around. Like, there's a lot of probabilities and potentialities here. That's the hardest thing. XOP, again, we talked about 130s. It's on my little charts. I could see it also getting up here. Now what? Again, high volume, highs and lows, love to retest. Look at that. Man, just love that. If you've never heard that before, Trader Florida definitely taught me that. He's like, man, you got to watch these things. They're like tractor beams, because that's where all the volume unlocks, right? Like, this is like a major buying point or selling point, so it's going to test. Now, we went a little higher, I know. Oh, but we went higher, Dan. Doesn't count. It's like good enough for government work, right? Close at the lows. But what have we said? Keep this in mind. Keep it top of your mind for shorting this stuff. If the market goes up near term, these oil drillers, whatever, this whole sector will hold up. That's just what it is. It's not going to tank, probably, unless oil and gas really tank. That's why it's such a hard trade for me. ExxonMobil, look at that. Hit the 50-day, backed off. Again, the volume isn't great. Again, I'm going to warn, and this with the warning on oil and gas. It's going to be volatile. So you're going to have to trade it. And if you're trying to swing the long-term short, well, you better be positioned with the right options or shorting the right stuff and being extremely patient in layering in and layering out. You're going to have to manage it. That to me seems like babysitting. I'm not there yet. Have no interest in babysitting. There's other trades that I think are personally easier. Will they be as lucrative? You never know. You don't know. Again, if you have any questions about the video, any of the review of the stuff, please stop by the Discord room. Even if you're in the Discord room, if you're not watching this stuff, like, why? Because I hate when you ask me a question, and again, I don't mind answering, but it's like, did you watch the video last night? No. Okay, well, I can give you a one-sentence answer, or you can go watch the video, and you can literally watch me review exactly what you're talking about, or your question in detail with charts, and you can hear my voice and inflections and how serious and how much comedy you're really missing out on. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, and if you have real estate questions, again, that's the goal here. Get real assets. Stocks are paper. If something happens tomorrow and the market wipes out and they take your money somehow, I don't know. At least you have an asset. If you start buying real estate, gold, silver, can you buy uranium? Question mark? I don't know. Probably not. But own real assets, right? Things that are paying you do not work. That's the goal. Don't buy a bunch of stupid cars. All right. Talk to you guys and gals later. Have a great day. FOMC day tomorrow. Please do not forget that. I don't know if I said at the beginning of the video, but I think it's so obvious. If you didn't know it was, where are you living? Under a rock. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.